So this was a day here on my BULENOX master account, BULENOX Funded account that I have. I had many trades on this day. You'll see the trade details as I showed them on most of my videos. This was a very busy day. A lot of trades on the funded accounts. Here you're going to see also the ES 80 ES 80, sorry, price match code that I have, which is going to be basically 80% off until January 23rd. Make sure to click on the link below and you'll be directed to BULENOX's site for their evaluations. I'm funded with several funded accounts. I've tested pretty much all of them, and so far with BULENOX I've had no issues. You could use trade copiers, have several different master accounts. If you're funded with BULENOX, you pay a one-time fee, so you basically have one fee for the master account once you're funded.
Brent crude futures settle at $77.84 a barrel, down $4.26 or 5.19%.
Again, most days both ES and Nasdaq, the correlations are pretty good, but here on this short here, I was a bit quick to take the scratch just because, I noticed that Nasdaq was kind of stuck in that previous trade at the beginning here on the video. What I did is I was really looking for that, uh, you know, what's the impact of the sweeps that are occurring on the ES tape? Are they quickly taking like, are they making the quick moves? Is it allowing the market to take that 6 to 8 tick rotation quickly? I tend to see the effect of those sweeps to see if there's the aggressivity is being absorbed by a passive seller on the other side. If I'm planning to sell, if I'm planning to go long, right? So I was able to take that quick long around the 60-50s and quickly got the, what is it, the 4 to 8 tick scalp. So here on the Nasdaq short, that was just basically off rotations, noticing that Nasdaq was doing pretty much 10 to 15 point rotations and was getting exhausted once it would hit those rotations. So I was able to get those quick little scalps. Those are little just correlation scalps that I like to generally play on Nasdaq. this short that I had, the short idea on ES here, where the market had chopped a lot. I kind of took the scratch a bit too fast, which is kind of something that I tend to do once I notice that it's really stuck in a chop. So I try to really avoid getting chopped, and the best way is to really sometimes notice that Nasdaq's not doing much and ES would probably follow, and I tend to take the scratch quickly just to avoid being in that trade where you're not sure much about the directionality. I tend to put my orders a bit far away just to see how the market comes into my orders. It's just me quickly noticing how the market is trading. It gives me a quick visual sentiment of what the market's doing quickly here. We're on the 55 75s. I noticed some kind of a two-way auction here where the volume in the inside prints on both sides is pretty clear that the market's got a two-way auction here. So those two-way auctions are really ideal to take no real directionality, just to take those quick scalps, go get those 4, 8, 10 tick scalps if the market gives it to you. And that's why a lot of traders ask, why are you taking like small scalps? It's just that sometimes the market is telling you that those kind of scalps are what you need to be doing. We've got some absorption here on the 3854s. Nasdaq also bouncing off. So again, probably look at the volume and the inside prints, giving you very clear indications of two-way auction, which is a pretty good conditions to be able to not really pick much directionality and be able to not have the trade go against you too much. That's what I like. These are good conditions for scalpers, and be able to, again, on a couple of ticks, on a couple of trades here, I took the scratches a bit too early, but it was mainly due to the fact that Nasdaq was either not really moving and it wasn't giving me clear indications of what both markets were doing. And again, very clear that sometimes I put orders on the dome, and those orders are just for me to remember what I was doing when I go back and look at my recordings, because I tend to see and I tend to remember those rotations, and it gives me a quick way to say, okay, this is what I was thinking. And here at the 3858s, again, I took another scratch on this short with ES because I noticed that it already did like a 4 to 6 point move, and I'm kind of late to the party if I wanted to get that. So I tend to just get the scratch and readjust if I can, and I'll go with small little scalps. And as you can see, my entries are perfect. It's just that in these days here, I had a couple of days where the market really was having a hard time doing those 6 to 8 tick quick, taking those profits quickly. So if I notice that it's not giving me my profits very quickly on some trades, I'll try to be a bit faster on taking profits, and that's why I move around my take profits very quickly in some trades. Here you'll notice that it is around 253-ish here, and the market's just got some big sweeping that entered into this 58 57 75 58 level here, and a lot of absorption occurred. So I think we've got a tendency here of noticing that I was noticing that the market had really been doing like 6 to 8 point moves, mainly on ES, and would get exhausted, and then you'd see a passive buyer or a passive seller just step in to absorb. So that's where I tend to always watch for those key levels. And then here around the 62-ish here, 3862, again, we've got some absorption occurring. So it's, what is it doing, right? We've got what kind of volume is required for these absorptions, and then how much does the market move from there. So if you had taken, let's say, the short around the 3862, it got at least to around 3860s, right? It's giving you at least that 4 to 6 tick scalp opportunity. So these are little clues that the market's always giving you. So don't forget that every trade, either a winner or a loser or a scratch, whatever, it's giving you indications and clues of what type of market you've got. So I'm gonna, again, here I'm trying to see if I could get that. I'm a bit late here with the short idea, but I think I was a bit aggressive trying to get the short because the market was barely making any upticks. And you see, I went for the 8 tick take profit, and it just moved like only 4 ticks in my favor. So again, here I'm trying to either take the scratch or small little gain. Again, I was a bit fast on the scratch, I think, but again, Nasdaq is also stuck in, what is it? Not even a 3 point range, which is very critical, because Nasdaq, you want it to be moving, and this is one thing I have to always monitor is how much is Nasdaq moving within like 5,000 milliseconds, which is like 5 seconds, right? For 5 second rotations, how much does Nasdaq move? If Nasdaq isn't moving, high odds ES won't be moving much as well. So I need to always constantly monitor the market correlations to get at least some momentum when I'm trading. And again, here I was going for the long, and that same 3862 level I just remembered, where there was a passive seller that was absorbing, so I took that scratch very quickly, and then we just got above the 3862, and this is kind of my sweet spot where I'm looking for that long. And my entry is not bad, it's just that I think I need to be able to get that second second entry long here to perhaps give myself a decent runner here. I know that the market's in range bound here. We've got two-way auction. We're getting, again, the main idea here was to get that squeeze above 62, but I should have been a bit more proactive in trying to keep a runner here, and because I think here the market's probably going to move a lot faster, and that's exactly what it did. So it got from 62 to 66s. You see, it did like at least a 6 point move here from 62 to 68, and it's again another passive seller, right? We get to 68, and we've got another absorption here, and that's the exact reason why I went with the short idea here, because that's the kind of market we've had here all day. It's been 2 days like this where some traders would call this like really choppy, but I'm not saying this is choppy. It's just that you need to set your expectations, and you need to be ready to I scratch the trade quickly, because the exhaustion, the number of points it moves is giving you very clear indications that once it hits 6 to 8 points there, I'm showing you quickly the two trades there that again, small little scalps, because my targets were not hitting. These were 2 days where I had noticed, and I even shared it on Twitter, where a lot of my trades were just not going through. It was just one of those days where you want to trade, you want to get those targets to be hit, but they just wouldn't. It wasn't fulfilling my orders sometimes, and I had to take the scratches a lot faster in some cases. So it took the short here around 65.50, and trying to see if I could do a good job of monitoring the flow here. 38.65s, 97 hit on the bid, and couldn't get the move to move, and it's been one of those days where it's not been giving you like those 200, the 300s that are hitting the bids. It's not like we're trading at noontime here, where it's really in the afternoon, which is decent. We should have some decent volume here, right? And my inside prints are at 5,000 milliseconds, which is around 5 seconds. Getting some sweeps here on the 66.75, 77, 67.25. I'm trying to get the, a second entry short here to see if I can get at least a 4 to tick scalp here. And as you can see, the volume in the inside prints, definitely two-way auction, not aggressively moving against me, but this is the kind of trade where I need to see something that's going to help me here. And this 38.68 absorption kind of tells me that here we can go get at least a 4 to 6 tick move, and that's why I'm trying to take my profits here around the 38.66 is a bit faster, just to really go get that scalp. And like I was saying a bit earlier, the market was just moving 4 to 6 ticks and just rotating back. It was one of those markets where, again, like I said earlier, some would call this chop, but it's not an easy directional day. It's just a lot of back and forth. The two-way auction is very clear. You need to, and the market's getting exhausted very clearly at certain levels that you're able to see. You need to always monitor the inside prints to see what kind of volume is needed here. And the 67.50s has some decent volume here, and I just want, when you see that kind of volume, you want the market to move quickly in your direction through that level, for you to get at least, you know, a couple of ticks. If it doesn't move quickly through your level like that, you need to look for a scratch right away. Don't even try and look. I did a good job of scratching that trade because the momentum just picked up there, and you're highly expecting a move that will probably go against you a much more. So like a small little loss would become, you know, a good 8 to 10 tick loss if you don't take those scratches immediately. Sometimes the directionality is very obvious, but the liquidity of the market is just not letting it move. So I'd rather just take the scratch, move on to, you know, a better level that I'm able to see here. I'm trying not to chase this market, but it's just like very hard to not chase it. Nasdaq is clearly wanting to go higher, and I've got a long here on ES, and you know, it's been a couple of trades here that I got scratched out of, and I know that I need to kind of let this breathe a bit. So that's why I'm trying to get a second entry long, let the market move. But again, seeing that 200 on the bid at 69.71s, that's the reason why I'm taking the profit right away. I'm actually being a bit more cautious to take the scrap. I mean, like the small little takeout right away to not let the market go against me too much here. And you know, it's not an obvious market where you're not just getting like sudden reloading or someone that's just pumping this higher to, you know, go get it. And here, this is a pretty decent move here that I have here. 3:01 p.m. I took the profit very quickly because the market's been doing like 6 to 8 points moves and getting exhausted. And you see, even though it did slightly continue above the 73.25, as soon as I saw the two-way auction around 73.25, I basically hit the, you know, I took the profit very quickly on that. And now here we're getting some selling on the tape. You know, very clear on my 20 plus tape here on the right hand side that, you know, you've got two-way auction here. Both markets are going, you know, bid and offer, and we've got good volume on the inside print. So clearly very indicative of, you know, two-way auction, which you need to always be careful of and let the market dictate what kind of, you know, trading it's doing. And it's not hard. It's just that you need to be seeing it all the time to be able to, you know, adapt to what the market's doing. Again, don't hesitate to click on the link below. Go get the 80% off on the BULENOX evaluations. I think it's until January 23rd, so you could still benefit from that. So we had some decent sweeping on the tape here between 74 to 76s, I think, on ES. So that's like pretty clear that we've got a lot of two-way auction here between 76s and 78s. So yeah, you need to be able to spot those two-way auctions to make sure that, you know, if you're going long and short, you know that these are normally areas where you're going to get a lot of chop. Well, again, chop, you need to define the fact that it goes up 2 or 3 ticks, comes back down 2 or 3 ticks. So if you're either long or even short, you know that both sides are pretty much going to be able to work. And that's where, you know, correlations could help a lot, because here Nasdaq is kind of also in range bound between what, 1180s or 1100s, actually 1100s to like 1110s, 1115s. So I know that it's been sitting around that area for some time now. So you can expect ES kind of in a range bound. Very clear that on the tape you're seeing both the two-way auction here. A lot of volume here below the 72, 75s. So you could look into maybe looking for a long, but Nasdaq's not really, I mean, it's not weak. It's the long side could definitely work here. Trying to keep these videos pretty much not too long, but again, sometimes there are key elements that I discuss when I'm trading like this, and I could see here that these are very interesting days. As you can see, both sides on the bid on the if you look at the inside prints, you've got pretty good volume on both sides, and it's not like the market's just dropping down with low volume. Where the aggressivity, it's a really two-way auction, which is very clear. This is the kind of market that you would like, because when you get these kind of markets, you either take the short or the long, and that instantly, or within a couple of seconds, I'd say less than 5 seconds, you're already in the money with your trade. So I tend to just watch the market. Sometimes we'll give it 2-3 minutes of just watching what's going on, how is it trading. Very clear that it's got the two-way auction here, so looking for areas. I'm just spotting generally where I look for rotations to end on Nasdaq, so I kind of show that to myself when I'm doing my screen recordings. This is the reason why I've got a couple of orders that I just put and close on Nasdaq, just for me to remember what the rotations were. So it's a lot easier when I come back and watch my recordings. I tend to understand what I was thinking, and what was the plan. Here on a quick move right away, which it didn't, so it's still gonna chop in that 3 to 4 tick rotation there. So I took a quick loss on the BULENOX Funded account there. I think it was like a 4 tick loss, but I think the direction was actually very good. I just didn't do a good decision to put the stop loss too tight. ES was really in a 3 to 4 tick absorption there, and it wasn't probably the best timing, but it was because I've been watching the market for the last 2 or 3 minutes, and I told myself that this is probably what I should do, and I just didn't execute that properly here. And the Nasdaq trade is really just chopping around, trying to get a runner, and there you are. That was nice. That was a quick winner on Nasdaq. Yeah, very clear that it might. I was able to get a second entry on that, and was able to, I could have maybe perhaps kept those two lots on it, but again, this is the kind of day where Nasdaq was moving 10-15 points, and and then it was just coming back. It wasn't very it wasn't one of those easy directional days, although the market did have some directionality throughout the day. Again, here, if you look at the inside prints on ES, the 74s, 75s, just showing you guys also the several trades I had here. So I had that nice move on ES, one of the nice winners, just a bit earlier on the BULENOX master account. Traded most funded accounts this day, so that's why I'm showing you here the trades of BULENOX, because I try to keep things like really separate. I do one funded account in the morning, and then I'll do a bit the other one, and then if I see that the market's giving some good rotations, I'll probably try to keep another one. I tend to trade them pretty much in one day, so I've been very active in making sure that I trade all of them. Again, since I'm funded, why wouldn't I do it, right? Why wouldn't I trade the funded accounts? It's just money on the table that I'm leaving with a funded account, which gives me the monthly payouts. Why not? All right, here around 69.70, we've got some two-way auction here on ES. Market seems to be pretty weak. As you can see, I've got TICKSTRIKE also showing how most stocks are correlating pretty well. They're all lighting red, so we've got some aggressivity here. This is 68.50 here. I just had like 300 there, so we've probably got some passive buyer that's holding up this market here. Let's just see how that trades. As you can see, that a passive buyer did hold up the market here for 69 to 71, so that's why when you notice that the market with this kind of volume is able to keep the market firm, it gave it a good 6 to 8 ticks. So again, here a big battle here on the 68s, because no doubt we've got some reloading here on the 68.50s. So I just fast forwarded around 3:10 p.m. here, and the market just already moved 4 points away from 38.68. So no doubt we've got, pretty clear reloading and absorber there. So these are the kind of little nuances you have to watch every day. It kind of tends to change a bit, but sometimes you'll see 200, 400, 500 that absorb on the bid, like on that 68 level that we just saw. And it's just enough to move the market maybe to a good 4 or 5 points. So you need to always watch for those little clues. What kind of market do we have? How much volume is required for the market to move? And if there's like a passive buyer or a passive seller at a certain level, are we able to at least rely on that kind of volume when it moves, right? So again, not too bad as a day. I had again, very busy day here with my funded account. So I'll leave the recording on for you guys to watch it. I tend to generally let the recordings kind of move around so that you guys are able to see what kind of rotations were occurring. On the right hand side, I have my ES tape, and you've got the 20 lots and the large lots that are above 50 on ES on the right. And I mean, I think you guys are pretty much used to now seeing how I trade, and it gives you a good idea of how the market tends to give you those clues every day, every trade, and basically every move it does gives you ideas of what the market is doing. So I tend to always watch 3, 4, 5 minutes just to see what it is. You generally it's a market where either you've got hard big volume that's coming in and it's just really moving the market, and that you should not try to step in front of that kind of volume. And then you've got decent two-way auctions where you're seeing sweeping on. You've got the market basically giving you clearer indications on the tape, where you'll see the tape, both sides giving you those sweeping. So there's not really like one clear direction, which is, I mean, as a scalper, you don't really care about, I'm not going to say you don't care about direction, but direction isn't all that important if you've got a market that's got no clues of what kind of direction it is doing, So that could be little clues to, and that's why I added TICKSTRIKE, because now with the TICKSTRIKE here, in some occasions you'll see that most stocks on the right hand side, you have Amazon, Tesla, PayPal, and Microsoft and Google and Apple there. When they start all turning red or turning green, I know that I need to not only say to myself, well, even though I've got this kind of volume in the dome here, we've got the stocks are doing this, and you're able to basically prepare your trades and kind of anticipate certain things. My entries do get a lot better when you've got markets that are correlating very well. So I'm able to understand that there's a directionality, and then if there's no real directionality, well, I also have a good way to read that through the volume that's printing in the inside prints, and also the TICKSTRIKE correlations that help a lot. Okay, so I hope this helps. Again, do not hesitate to contact me. I tend to always share my trades on YouTube. I've been doing this for a while now, and you guys kind of see that there's no magic sauce to this. There's no magic settings. Every day is a bit different. You just need to adapt to how the market's trading every day. And on BULENOX here, we've got the 80% off, which is going to be a really interesting price match here until January 23rd. Do not hesitate to contact me on that, and make sure to follow me on my social media accounts. I have them under my YouTube description here, and don't forget to hit the click button, and I really do appreciate it. So don't hesitate to email me as well. I tend to always share my settings, the domes that I have. So I hope that is pretty clear. All the best with 2023. We'll keep in touch.